I'm Jamie Braithwaite.
And I'm Dr. Matt Larsen. And we're here for the Mental Health Moment with Matt on Monday.
Yes, and conversation starters.
Yes. That's not the official title, but we got close.
I think that's official.
Right. It's cold and it's miserable and it's Idaho. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a break.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So last week, I talked about a difficult topic. How do you talk to kids about abuse? What I want to do is talk about a similar topic today. And I'll get to lighter topics in the future, but I figure let's start with real stuff people struggle with.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of kids who struggle with strangers, public places, unknown. They don't know who's there. And when I was a kid, I was taught in school stranger danger.
Yeah.
Were you taught the same?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, before we get to the stranger danger, funny thing I did, years ago I started picking up my kids from school for their birthdays to take them out to lunch on their birthday.
Okay.
So I'd run by at lunch, pick them up, go take them out, whatever.
Not whatever. That's really cool.
It was great. It is great. One time I kind of kidnapped my kid from school.
From the school?
Well, I thought it was hilarious. So I went and told the front desk.
Yes.
I was like, hey, I'm going to check out my son Spencer for school. She's like, okay, he's out at lunch recess. I was like, perfect. So we go outside and he's playing soccer.
Oh,
and he's facing the other direction.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, this is going to be great. So I run up behind him. He's tiny. And I pick him up and I just start running off with him toward the car. And luckily, the other kids started yelling.
They did?
The kids were like, hey, Spencer's being kidnapped. And luckily, Spencer looks up as he's like shaking on my shoulder. He's like, it's my dad.
Oh my gosh.
And it was hilarious and it was great. But I realized, I was like, oh, it's a good thing I stopped by the office.
Yeah, it is. So I have a funny story about accidentally kidnapping somebody.
Okay.
So new family moved into the neighborhood. They were playing out front, and another new family's kid was there playing as well. And I have a bus. I drive a 12-passenger van because it says Nerd Bus on it.
Yes, the Nerd Bus.
And I pulled up. We were headed to the museum, the children's museum. And I pulled up and I was like, hey, do you guys want to go to the museum? And I had texted the mom, like, I'll take the kids to the museum. So whatever, they all piled in. I didn't
Along
text
with the neighbor kid.
Yeah, along with the neighbor kid. I didn't text. I texted the mom, but I didn't text
the other
mom.
Right.
And I assumed that the mom would tell the other mom, but like it did not get. So then I'm at the museum, like having a great time. And they came storming in, not happy.
Right.
Because he had this other thing to go to and like was supposed to be in the yard. And then he's not in the yard. He's like at the museum with a stranger.
With a strange lady.
I kidnapped a kid accidentally to the children's museum.
Okay, I'm going to bug you about that forever.
I know.
Because that's hilariously sad and awesome. What I wanted to say on...
The kid got returned. He is fine. Probably he's talked to his therapist about me. But no, I actually don't think he knew that he got kidnapped.
Right. To him, he just went with friends to the museum and then his parents said, hey, you're late for a thing.
Yes.
Get in the car.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But now you can make fun of me forever for kidnapping somebody.
Don't kidnap people.
Yes. In your van.
So, stranger danger. Again, I learned it as a kid. I remember watching Kindergarten Cop and all the kids yelling, stranger, stranger. It was a big thing. And then I got into training in child psychiatry, and they said the stat that like 85% of kidnappings happen by family or someone you know. And now I watch, and it's always true. Every Amber Alert I see, it's the dad, divorced, picking up the kid from school and running off and not telling the mom who's the custodial parent.
Mm-hmm.
It's the somebody else. I worked in Reno with kids who were worried about them being sold into prostitution. Mm. And they said, again, it's over 70% is by someone they know. And I was like, what? How is that even possible? That's like the worst thing in the world. And it floored me. But then I realized we spend all this time worried about strangers because we all hear in the news about some stranger that did something. And it does happen. But we spend so much time worried about strangers. I think it costs us a lot of relationships with people we just don't know yet who are wonderful people. Because most of the danger isn't from strangers. It's like, I swear in Dare growing up, I was convinced people were going to walk up to me all the time offering me drugs. I was sure people were going to walk up the street like, hey, kid, you want, like, that's never happened in my life. The only people who have offered me alcohol or drugs are friends.
Yeah.
Coworkers, people hanging out with. That's who offers it to you.
Yeah.
And getting to the point, because like I'd have my kids and I'd say, hey, ride your bike to the school. It's 2.5 blocks away. Like, well, what if there's bad people? I'm like, what bad people do you think are lurking?
I know every house from here to
around
the
corner.
school.
I'm like, we're in Idaho.
Yeah.
Rural town. It's like, where are these bad people lurking at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday between our house and the school? Like, that's not, you have to worry about Jamie Braithwaite picking you up in her van.
I drive them to school.
Right? You would drive them to school. But helping my kids realize most criminal things are opportunistic. If I leave my garage open, there's not people walking through my cul-de-sac in a residential neighborhood looking for things to steal. Most people walking through a parking lot, they see a car that's open, they see a nice thing on the seat, then they might, because most people are just opportunistic. So I try to teach my kids, you don't just fear strangers because they're just people you haven't met yet. You don't trust everyone implicitly either. You don't not lock your doors. But when I'm teaching my kids, I'm like, strangers aren't scary. They aren't the problem. They aren't there to get you. They're simply unknown. Every friend you have and every family member you have was at some time a stranger. So we have the conversation of, as long as you're in a safe place and you have your own boundary, talk to everybody. Get to know everybody. My kids laugh at me because I know every single worker at the gas station. That's where I get my soda every day. I know all the workers at the hospital. I know the housekeeping staff to the doctor, the CEO, everybody. I mean, I work there. And everybody at church and everybody in the neighborhood and the kids in the local theater production. And I just get to know more and more people because I don't put myself in a dangerous situation. I'm not running through the park at 2 a.m. Like, don't put yourself in danger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go where people are likely to be making bad decisions while intoxicated, inebriated, other things where they're going to make bad choices. But I don't fear strangers, and I don't teach my kid to fear strangers.
So how do you teach that? How is that a conversation starter for your kids?
Right. A conversation I have is greet strangers when you're near them. One example I'll give my kids, if you've ever been to a hotel, usually the lady or the man working the front desk will say hi to you if you walk by. I think Marriott has a rule, if a customer's within 10 feet, you have to say hello.
Oh, that explains a lot.
They
right?
preset it so that they will say hello and they will greet you and you will feel welcome and happy in their hotel. They're strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell my kids, you can do the same thing, and most it'll just be a nothing. They'll move on, they'll wave or something. And some will talk to you, and some will become friends. And I've told them boundaries of don't get in cars with people you don't know. Don't. Like certain basic rules for safety. And beyond that, talk to anybody.
Yeah.
I tell my kids, like, we come to your house for Taco Tuesday. They don't know half the people here.
Right. We invite strangers
But we're
to
at a
Taco
safe place.
Tuesday.
We're at Jamie's house.
Yeah.
Like, talk to whoever you want. Don't go leave with them and hop in their car and take off.
Right. And don't go to a private bedroom with them in my house.
Exactly. There are safety rules, and we tell them and we keep them. But within those safety rules, talk to people, get to know people. One of the best things you can do for your entire life is be willing to be awkward. Be willing to have moments of screw up. I know this is a bit of a tangent. Where I read a thing about learning languages. People who learn the languages don't study the most. They screw up the most. They're willing to talk to strangers in a language they're not good at and mess up and say words wrong. And the more they say it wrong and get corrected by natives, the better their language gets over and over and over again.
You know what? I'm going to tie that right into JOYrific, because as I've been talking about JOYrific with a lot of different people, they've talked to my kids about JOYrific, and they say, your kids talk about JOYrific like it's a second language. And I think it's because we have established this foundation that we build on and we build on and we continue to build on and continue to have awkward, this was a temper tantrum and this was grumpy, and like experiences that we talk about and we reflect on and we help. And I think that language aspect of your emotions or of the things that your kids are going through, learning how to speak to a teenager is like a second language.
Yes.
And let's figure out how to do that. And that's why we have you here every Monday to talk about mental health with Matt.
I want to ask you that the kid you accidentally took to the museum,
Yes.
that I imagine the conversation with the parents was amazingly awkward.
Oh, yeah. They were really pretty mad at me.
Right. They might still be mad about that moment.
Probably.
Have you talked to them since?
Yeah, totally. Like,
Are you friendly, acquaintances, friends?
yeah, we know them quite well. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So you became friends even though it started.
I think we probably were friends too
Okay.
at that time.
Okay, they were mad at
Like,
the moment because...
They were mad at the moment because their kid wasn't where they thought their kid was supposed to be.
Right. But my point is, even when things start awkward, they often end great because you get through the awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. And recognizing that you made a mistake.
Right.
It's true. I did make a
apologize.
mistake and I'm really sorry. And next time I know very differently of how I'll do it.
I've introduced myself very, very poorly to someone before. Like it was terrible. I have said the wrong thing at the wrong moment. But even if it starts awkward, you get through the awkward and then you become friends with the person. You get to know them. I taught my kids, it's okay to be awkward. Just work through the awkward to get to the friendship.
Yeah.
Some of your best friends are the most awkward people ever.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
So
Good. I like
anyway,
that.
I wanted to point that part out.
Being awkward with teenagers and kids, like that's
expected.
It's expected. And we're all making it through. We're all trying our best.
Yeah. So mental health minute, moment, day, Monday, conversation starter. Talk to your kids about how strangers should not be feared, should not be avoided. Stranger danger isn't about the fact that they're strangers. The same safety rules that apply to strangers apply to friends, apply to family, apply to everyone. They're not dangerous because they're a stranger. A dangerous situation is a dangerous situation with anybody. If you lead with that, then you can become friends with all these great people that you just don't know yet. That
is excellent. That is excellent. Thank you, Matt Larsen, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me here.